Today, a Democracy Now! Special with a leading Muslim scholar who is banned from entering the United States for 6 years. The Swiss-born Tariq Ramadan is professor of contemporary Islamic studies at Oxford University, the president of the Brussels-based think tank European Muslim Network, and the author of a number of influential books on Islam and Europe. In 2004, Tariq Ramadan had accepted a job at the University of Notre Dame in Indiana, and Time magazine listed him among the top 100 thinkers in the world. But 9 days before Ramadan was set to start teaching here in the United States, the Bush administration revoked his visa, invoking a provision of the Patriot Act that allows the government to deny entry to non-citizens who, quote, endorse or espouse terrorism. The ACLU took up Tariq Ramadan's case in court and claimed he was being excluded because of his views. The administration then accused Ramadan of donating over $1,000 to a charity that had allegedly given money to the Palestinian group Hamas. Well, in January of this year, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton lifted the travel ban on Tariq Ramadan and another scholar, the South African Adam Habib, who we interviewed on Democracy Now! Earlier this week.
And let's move to an issue you've written extensively about, which is Muslims in Europe, and how you said Islam is a European religion, Islam is an American religion. Expand what you mean by this, and talk about it in the context of growing Islamophobia in Europe. We've seen the Swiss attempt to ban minarets, the French attempt to ban full veils on women, the crisis over the cartoons. Talk about what it's like to be Muslim in Europe.
Look, I'm used to speak about Western Muslims, and as much as you are talking about security here, we talk about new visibility there. You don't have a problem with visibility in the States, for example, but you may have a problem with this presence and mistrust. In Europe, we are facing exactly the same problems with new populist parties, old populist parties, far-right parties, using the Muslim presence and pushing us towards something which is emotional politics, using fears and very old racist attitudes and logic just to target the Muslims, say they are threatening the very homogeneity of our culture. So this is something which is really important. While what I'm saying, we are dealing with perceptions. So there is a clash of perception and mistrust here. While if you look at facts and figures, millions of Muslims are American, Canadian, European, and they don't have a problem. They are abiding by the law, and they don't have a problem of living as European. When I'm saying that, for example, I'm a European Muslim, I'm European by culture and Muslim by religion, and there is no problem. I find my way, and this is the 3 L's that I'm mentioning in my last book. I say we need to abide by the 3 L's. The first one is to abide by the law of the country, to know the language of the country, and to be loyal to our country. And to be loyal means critically loyal. I'm a citizen when I'm saying yes when it's right, and I can be critical when I think it's wrong. So this critical loyalty is very important. If you look at what is happening in many countries, the point is that it's as if the visible Muslims are problematic. So we accept you as citizens as long as you are invisible. This is the new era of invisible Islam, invisible Muslims.
I'm looking at the latest piece in the New Yorker magazine that's headlined, Tariq Ramadan Comes to America, with an exclamation point. And it refers to the writer Paul Berman, who wrote a long article for the New Republic, the basis of his new book, The Flight of the Intellectuals, to be published this month, arguing that Ramadan is to be feared, not admired, that his writings reveal a strong kinship with the radical Islamist ideology of his grandfather, Hassan al-Banna, founder of the Muslim Brotherhood. To Berman, Ramadan is a false moderate, and it goes on from there. Can you respond to those points?
I can respond by telling you something which is, I was expecting from Paul Berman something which was at the level of his, reputation. In fact, this book is a translation of what was written in French for the last 20 years. He's not a writer, he's a translator in this book. It's translation. I responded to all this by saying, come with the evidence. Come and tell me what I'm saying in Arabic that is not said in French or in English. If this was the case, how is it that I'm banned from 6 Muslim majority countries. If I have a double talk, I should be welcome in Saudi Arabia. Why am I banned from there? From Egypt, where I'm criticizing the lack of democracy. So my life is a response to this, which is rumors, Googling, no reading, translating, and that's okay if he has one evidence. I heard just this morning that I said once that there is something called Islamic biology. That he's saying that I said that. That's fine. I never used this, and I'm completely against that. But if you are repeating this on Google and having books like this, saying things that are completely wrong, my answer is come to my life, come to my works, come to my books, and just show me where I have this double talk. And I would say something to people like him who were quite leftist and promoting social democracy in the States, and coming back with this.
I don't know if people would call him leftist in the United
Sorry?
States. I don't know if people would call him leftist in the United
social
States.
Democrats are, yes, that's okay. But people who knew him telling he has changed a great deal over the last years. That's fine. He's not the only one. I am seeing this and meeting people in Europe exactly the same. Say, we were too liberal. These Muslims are threatening us, so they are changing their mind. And in fact, you can see that all over the West, you have a kind of a network of people nurturing exactly the same ideas and projecting onto the Muslim presence something which is, this is a threat. And if you come to the common ground, you understand that, in fact, they have a problem with us being Westerns or being Europeans. They want a binary vision, us versus them. We have something here which is quite interesting. He was in the state, and at the beginning he had a very open, this speech and understanding that we have to be American, and then after all this, there is something which is missing here. And the missing link is this one. There is a lack of sense of belonging. If you listen to what he's saying here, that America and us killing Muslims, so it's as if it's an us versus them. And this is something which is quite important. If we are not able, in this country, to be American citizens, Muslim and non-Muslims, and to be critical, and not to see our loyalty being questioned because we are critical, how could we get the sense of belonging? So if, for example, I'm banned from this country, have been banned from this country because I speak my mind, I get the message. In fact, I'm not one of you. You are putting me outside, saying, no, you are banned from us. So this is exactly what is happening with people like this. We push, we push, we push. We kill in Iraq, we kill in Afghanistan. And when we need a critical discussion here by saying, no, we don't agree, it should be open, and we should not be suspected, it's not working. So you get everything except this sense of belonging. And if you don't get this sense of belonging, which is the psychological integration to your society, meaning if I want to change the policies in Iraq, I should be a citizen in this country to vote and to be critical and to reach out. This is where I belong. This is my country. If I don't get this sense, I'm going to end up like this, exactly like in the same way Muhammad Siddiq Khan, after just before the bombing in London, he was saying, you are killing our brothers there, we are going to kill you and us, our brother and you. So, but he was born and raised in Britain, exactly like him, he was here. So it's a deep question here. It's a deep dimension that we have to understand, that critical discussion is important, to feel at home here is important, and then with this kind of understanding, I will challenge this understanding of Islam, of course, by saying, we cannot be loyal to the United States of America, and this very black and white attitude, dogmatic mind. I can understand that it is coming out of frustrations, but I disagree. But I would like the politicians in the States and in the West to understand, if you carry on this atmosphere, this nurturing this perception that Islam is a threat, that the Muslims are a problem, not a potential contribution,